Hey guys, what's up? Brad here. I just wanted to come and share a quick message of hope. And my hope and my prayer is that this encourages somebody out there today. Maybe it's for somebody watching this right now. Maybe you're walking through this type of season in your life. And so I hope it just encourages you. But adversity. I've been thinking a lot about adversity lately. I've been walking through Joshua 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I was saying the other day and just kind of talking around my circle, we were talking about how Joshua is leading this new charge, right? He's leading this new generation to the banks of Jordan that had been promised. The promised land had been promised from Abraham through to Moses. Then Moses dies, and now Joshua is raised up as the new leader, and he's leading this new generation in this charge to the banks of the Jordan. And literally, they are looking at their promise ahead of them. Like, can you imagine staring at the promise of God in front of you, the thing that he's promised you? Maybe you feel like there's something that God has promised you in your life. Maybe it's something creative. Maybe it's a ministry. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's cooking or life, or I don't know, something that God has promised you and you feel like it hasn't come to fruition yet. Imagine they're sitting at the banks of the Jordan looking at the promise that God had promised them. And what it says next is crazy, but it says that the Jordan was flooded to its banks. And as I begin to dive into that, the Jordan River, when it's flooded, can reach up to 12 foot deep, up to 40-mile-an-hour currents. And the prophet Jeremiah talked about the thickets of the Jordan. And so we know that it wasn't just a clear path. It's brush, it's bushy, it's all kinds of thickets in it. And so I imagine they're sitting right there at the banks. They're looking at their promise right in front of them, smack dab in front of them, and here it's flooded. And they're like, oh crap, what are we gonna do? How are we going to get across this? Maybe the strong can survive type of situation. Maybe the strong can get across, but what about the weak? What about the elderly? What about the children? What about all of our possessions that we've got to carry across this thing? I imagine that they probably were beginning to lose hope, and that the 3 days they camped, it probably spread quickly throughout the camp like, crap, what are we going to do? But what happens next is incredible. God tells Joshua to order the priests to step into the water with the Ark of the Covenant and that the people would follow behind. And soon as they step foot in the water, it says that the waters parted. And so what that tells me is allow the presence of God to go before you. When there's a blockage, when there's a barrier in your life, allow the presence of God. It's not your battle, right? It's not by power, not by might, but by my spirit, says the Lord. So it's not your battle to fight.